Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel, and it is a little bit of a different setup today, but we're going to talk about the books I read in February. Y'all, I gotta film this video. I mean, it is like March the 4th, and if I don't film this, I don't even know. It has been crazy this week. I've just been so busy, but hey, we're here and I have a lot of books to talk about with you guys. I've got like 4 or 5 new favorites this month. Super excited. I read 17 books in February, and yeah, it was just a pretty good reading month. So let's just dive right into this because but as always, the books are going to be linked below and the timestamps are below. So if you want to skip around, that's fine. All the things. So let's go. And I do have my reading journal, so I will be looking at notes, but it's okay. And I may have to stop filming this because everybody's asleep. It's early in the morning. My kid may wake up, so I may do half or however far I get and then film somewhere else. But that's okay. Hey, mom life. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive in. So here's my little stack. I'm gonna have to separate a little bit. So the first book I read in February was Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, and I really like this. It's a fun adventure. I give it 4 stars. I read this for the Around the World in 80 Days readathon. This is a classic. We follow Phileas Fogg around the world basically in 80 days, and he was just so kind, and he kept on moving and just going on his journey no matter what was going on, and life was throwing at him some crazy things. And I did get bogged down a little bit sometimes, but that's okay. That happens sometimes in classics, but that's why it's a 4-star. But I really want to watch an adaptation. I think it would be so fun to watch an adaptation. And I have, you know me, your girl is not like, I'm not good on my track record with watching adaptations, but I really want to watch an adaptation for this. I listened to the narrator and read along with the book a little bit, and the narration was a little bit different than this one. It's like they had edited a few things, but that was okay. Jim Dale narrates the audiobook, he also narrates the Harry Potter books. It was just the best. So the whole point of this is that he is wagering like 20,000 pounds, was it? Yeah. And his honor, in a way, to go around the world in 80 days. Like he's going to set out to prove these people wrong. And no matter what, he's got this plan that he's going to do it. He's going to meet the deadline. And so you're just following him from all these different countries. This page was beautiful. And yeah, I recommend this. It was a lot of fun. If you are someone who loves traveling, I think you'd like this. All right, the next book I read this month was Turn to Me by Becky Wade. Y'all already know. Sorry, I'm trying to be as quiet as I can, honey. Or I would have been like, Becky Wade. Y'all already know what I'm saying. But this is the 3rd book in the Misty River series, and I read this with Amy at Pretty Little Paperbacks, and we had the best time buddy reading this. It feels like forever ago we read this. I mean, I didn't do a mid-month wrap-up. I'm like, what? But I gave this 5 stars. Was there any doubt I was going to give this 5 stars? That's the question. But this series is one of my favorite of all time. I did do a big series review on my Instagram. I'll link that post below if you want to read it. But just some of the most top-tier Christian romances of all time, with love and faith and heartbreak, redemption, grace, and you even have a little bit of humor, just real life. That's what I've said about Becky's books, is like, we live people, real life problems, and I love that about her books. And so in this installment, this is the final installment for her series, Misty River, and we follow Luke and Finley. Luke is the last of the Miracle 5, which the Miracle 5 are 5 people that were saved from a crazy earthquake. It was miraculous. So that you follow like all these different characters throughout the stories in each book anyway. But he is the last of the Miracle 5 that we see here, and he's pretty much always distanced himself from the others in the group, and he was recently released from prison, and he was serving time for felony theft, and he had promised a fellow inmate and friend in prison, which happened to be Finley's dad, right before her dad passed away, that he would help piece together clues for this treasure hunt for her daughter when he got out. And so when he gets out, he ends up going and seeing Finley and explaining everything. Finley's father was really worried about other people trying to find this secret treasure that he had for her, and so he really trusted Luke to protect her as they help go try to find this missing treasure. Okay, Finley is the owner of an animal rescue center. She accepts Luke's help when he comes in. So yeah, the story goes on from there. They're just working together on this treasure hunt, and it was just a delight to see them from the very beginning. They just had the best chemistry, and I didn't really connect with Finley like personally, but it was really nice to see her. Like, she was just a different kind of character, and they made me laugh, and the story was just so raw. Have some banter back and forth, and yeah, they discuss faith throughout this story, forgiveness, and they really grow together. And there wasn't a few times I feel like the mystery in this dragged a little bit, but I still think this is a 5-star read because the ending was perfect. So yeah, we really got to see like Luke's rough exterior start to shed, and we also got to see Ben from book 2 and what happened there with his story. So I won't really go into that, but that was cool to see as well. I wasn't as interested in that side story, but that was cool to see. So yeah, Turn to Me 5 stars, loved it. Got some coffee here real quick. I'm doing this on like not even a cup of coffee, you guys. I mean, what am I doing? So forgive me if I'm like out of scope a little bit. But anyway, all right, where's that book? The next book I read this month was The Cairo Curse by Pepper Basham. This is book 2 after the Mistletoe Countess, and I was on her launch team for this, and I loved it so much. I ordered my own copy. I had an ebook copy from NetGalley, but I ordered my own copy because y'all already knew I was gonna love this. I mean, anything Pepper writes, I usually enjoy, and so I give this 4.5 stars. I think if you really like Agatha Christie, Clue, The Mummy, Indiana Jones, and any kind of like cozy mystery and a little bit of romance and chemistry in here, you're gonna enjoy this, okay? So yeah, this is like a really fun and exciting sequel to The Mistletoe Countess, and I do recommend that you read The Mistletoe Countess first, just because you get to see how they meet, their interactions as a married couple, and all these things. So Mistletoe Countess is still my favorite. However, this was such a great follow-up. This time, Grace and Freddie have taken a detour from their honeymoon to go to Egypt. They're going to explore pyramids, tombs, mummies, artifacts, and all of a sudden, like, their trip pretty much takes a dangerous turn with all these murders and all these different things happening left and right. And so suspects are mounting up. Grace and Freddie are trying to solve these happenings in Egypt, okay? Always, the characters make the story in this, okay? Grace and Frederick are the best couple. I still love them. There is going to be a 3rd book called The Juliet Code. Look at the cover. I'm going to put it somewhere here. It just looks so good. Maybe I'll put it right here. It looks so good. And so I think that'll come out maybe later this year or early next year. I'm not 100%, but yeah, and they just have the best faith in God and respect and honor for each other, and they're realistic, and Grace just continues to grow. I feel like in this cover for the Juliet Code that we see some maturity of Grace, and I cannot wait to see her journey continue to grow as well. You're also gonna laugh, honey. You know with Pepper, you're gonna be laughing, honey, and I was laughing like crazy with this. So yeah, very humorous scenes, and yeah, I highly recommend. So if you've read The Mistletoe Countess, continue on. Even if you're like not the biggest mystery person, I think you like this. It's a lot of fun. It may not be that 5-star level book for you if you're not a mystery person, but it's still going to be a fun and exciting ride. So I definitely recommend it. So yes, can't wait for the next one. Okay, and then the next book I read this month was The Thursday Murder Club. Finally picked it up, you guys. And I gave this 3.5 stars, and I really liked it. They're surrounding a I'm saying this is surrounding 4 hilarious older characters, okay? They live in this upscale retirement village, and they work together to solve a bunch of murder cases, okay? And so they're part of this Thursday Murder Club, right? And so it's set in Kent, England during modern day, and things get crazy fast. They crack you up. You will be laughing in this so much. This is a secular book, but I can't remember like content-wise. I think there was, I don't even remember if there was any mild language. There might have been, but it's nothing I can even recall, right? There's a few mentions of suicide and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, it's not necessarily like fully cozy, but it's kind of in that middle, right? So like just standard mystery is what I would classify this as. There's all this stuff happening at the retirement village, and these characters are just hilarious, like I said. My only complaint is I really have a hard time keeping up with the characters in this book. So maybe because I listen on audio a lot, like you really have a hard time, like who's talking, what is it? There's so many characters. And so I had a really hard time keeping it straight, but I struggle with that anyway. So yeah, it wasn't quite that 4-star mark, but and just all the shifts going on with the characters is what took me out of the story sometimes. but I still think this was fun. If you like a good Agatha Christie, this had similar vibes. So yeah, Thursday Murder Club. And I do plan to read the next one. I wasn't sure, but my friends have read it and they love it. So some of them said they loved it more than the first one. So we're here. I'm gonna keep on. So yeah, 3.5 stars. And I read Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Janice Thompson. I read this through NetGalley. This is book 3 in the Gone to the Dogs series. I've talked a lot about this series this year. It is a Christian mystery series, and it's just cute. It's always a good time to read. In this book, we are following a veterinarian named Kristen who realizes that the Atkinson family champion dog, I think it's a Sheltie dog, Remington, has somehow been stolen and swapped with another dog, because they bring this dog in, and they're like, something's wrong with our dog, and then she already had like the DNA test and everything in the back from before, and they could tell easily, hey, this is not the same dog. And so they're trying to work to figure all this out, and we have kind of this cute little romance between Tyler and Kristen blooming, and I like their chemistry together. It was cute. I don't know, these are just enjoyable series. They always feel like you're coming back home to your family. They have some Southern vibes, and as a Southern girl, you already know I'm happy about that. And I think every character has some sincere care for each other, and it's not too cheesy, you know. I just think it's fun. I always give these 4 stars, seems like. So book 4 will be by Kathleen Yabarbo. I have that already on my Kindle to read. It comes out April 1st. I always appreciate the faith in these stories. You know, in this one we saw them mentioning church, prayers, God's plan for their life, and they're always considering their faith when making certain decisions, so that's always nice to see. So this one, I feel like the mystery was a little bit more exciting because like we're trying to figure out who stole this dog. You know, yeah, overall, I think this is a fun continuation, and I cannot wait to finish it. I think book 4 is the last one, so yeah, I'm excited about that. And then okay, so Left Behind, book 2. Chrissy has been, I think she's on book 13 at this point. She has been reading through the entire series, Chrissy from Chrissy's Purple Library, and she has really encouraged me to dive into this. I'm a little bit slower, so I've only finished book 2 so far, but I want to get into Nikolai, which is book 3, but book 2 was Tribulation Force. This is by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. These books are just so good and classic. I give this 5 stars. Book 2, continue our story from Rayford, Buck, Chloe, Bruce. They form this Tribulation Force. It's end times rapture story, and they're just going to stand and fight the enemies of God during the 7-year tribulation after the rapture. So the ending of this was like, I was in a chokehold, honey. And I think the ending of a lot of these books are like, what? Got to read the next one. But I have to take a break usually in between each one. So I feel like these are classic books, and the audiobooks are just phenomenal. That's how I've been really reading them. I've got the first 5 books physically, but I highly recommend these, like, especially like for this time in our life. Read these books, you guys. They are just, it's crazy how things are like lined up with some of this stuff. We also, in this book, we got to see some good development between Rayford and his daughter, and there was some with Buck and Chloe, but Chloe, she always be crazy, so I mean, we know she always like what she doing. I was like, I'm about to hit her with this book because she was like miscommunication a little bit, but I still give this 5 stars just because of like the faith side of this. But some of her stuff was like annoying me. She always, you already know Chloe, okay? But yeah, I still give this 5 stars, and I cannot wait to dive into Nikolai, which is book 3. This series is crazy, so I think I'm gonna pick it back up in April because y'all, I've just got to do it. So yeah. And the next book, this video just needs to be sponsored by Chrissy because sponsored by Chrissy's Purple Library. We'll just say that because I've read several of her favorite books this month. Like, I guess Left Behind was influenced by Chrissy. This was influenced by Chrissy. And I know I got another one here, influenced by Chrissy. So 3 books this month, Chrissy's Purple Library. Hey girl, hi. But Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Y'all, I give this 4.5 stars. It was so close to 5 for me, but there was just like hard, it's hard for me to understand some of it. So I just, that's typical with fantasy for me, but it was so good. This is a secular fantasy, and I definitely understand why she always says Hobb Emotional Support Group, because once you start on this journey with Fitz, where you going? As somebody who doesn't really read a lot of fantasy, I'm starting to dip my toes in it, right? Like, this whole video is going to be like crazy different genres, okay, at this point, you'll see. But this book, I think, is a great foundational fantasy story to, like, dive us into the world, the characters of Robin Hobb, okay? Our main character is named Fitz. We start off with him being 6 years old. This is told in first person, and he's just this young boy from 6 years old, I think, up until 13 or 14 years old at the end of this. And so this is a very long not trilogy, but like series. I think there's trilogies within the series. In this first book, we're learning all about his family ties, his relations, who his dad was, and he's taken into an apprenticeship to train, and he has to embrace his entire life and about becoming a royal assassin, pretty much. He's learning all about weaponry, scribing, these different courtly manners and things, how to kill. And I mean, he's young, and they're trying to train him how to be this assassin, you know. So his whole life is torn upside down, pretty much. He's learned all about this nobility and just everything. And so, but his life's hard. Like, this book was going to take you through it because, you know, they say the later books are worse, but he is going through it in this story. And, you know, I'm just so connected to Fitz and his story. His life is hard, and you just keep wondering, like, is it going to get any better for poor old Fitz? You know, but you got to love him so much because he never gives up. You're continuously rooting for him, and we've got like a lot of political intrigue in this. The magic system's interesting. There's some like telepathic magic and wit skills, I think. Don't quote me because your girl can't remember how I did nothing. But I think that's what it was. And yeah, I don't know. I look forward to seeing that evolve a little bit more in the other books. And the Fitz and the Fool, I really like them together. That was fun. There's this like little jester type character in the court, and they call him the Fool. And he's just like, at first I was like, what is he saying? But it's like, okay. So I think he's such an interesting character. And I think there's like a series pretty much all around him. I want to say I've seen that in the title. So yeah, overall, like I said, I really enjoyed this as a start to Fitz's journey. I cannot wait to see like what happens next. I might pick it up in April and May, Royal Assassin Book 2. Yeah, Hobb knows how to keep you invested in her characters. She's going to like take you on this journey, honey. For real. And so the ending had me in tears though. Like that last paragraph, you guys, if you've read this, that last paragraph. So content wise, I don't know that there's really anything. I mean, there's like some mild violence. I really couldn't tell you, you know, I don't remember. There is some mild language. It's like your typical fantasy content, you know, so take that for what it's worth. I don't know if there really was any trigger warnings in this. Honestly, you might look that up if you want to. Actually, yeah, there is some. There's animal death in this a lot. So that was hard to read. So I wanted to mention that for some of y'all. But other than that, I like this. I really liked this book. So, all right, moving on. The book I read was book 2 in the Scottish Mystery Series. I need to read book 3. And it's called Murder in a Scottish Garden by Tracy Hall. This is pretty good. Again, I give this 3.5 stars, just like the first one. This is all surrounding Paisley. She's the owner of this specialty sweater and yarn shop, Cashmere Crush. She's chaperoning she's chaperoning her son's field trip, and she hears a gunshot, sees a man fall through the hedges, and throughout this book, they're trying to figure out who killed this man. I mean, typical cozy mystery fashion, right? Now, she's not really like implicated in the murder in these, and we're still following a lot with like tied to her grandfather and her son and all this, so you still see a lot of the family side of this. The person who died, though, was a person of interest because it was the cousin to her landlord that was trying to evict her. The landlord's afraid somebody's trying to kill him and his mother, I think. I can't remember exactly, but Paisley, she's trying to investigate, okay? And so everything gets crazy. And so, yeah, I like this a little bit more in book 1. We had a little bit more focus on the mystery and the family dynamics, but I still need a romance. Paisley, I need a romance for Paisley. Like, where is it? And so I'm going to continue on in the audiobooks with this, but yeah, I just feel like she needs a romance. I always like the Scottish vibes and the accents in this, so that's why I'm listening to the audiobooks, but I think they're pretty bingeable, pretty quick listens. Some parts drag. It's not perfect, but it's fun. And if you need a good cozy mystery and you like Scotland, you might like this. It has lots of family details, so just keep that in mind. It's not always like the quickest cozy, you don't feel like, because you're not necessarily always in the mystery. You're in with family as well, but this time I kind of liked it because it was more realistic, like getting to know the character backgrounds and all this stuff. So of like how she is balancing being a single mom and her business, taking care of her family. So yeah, I like this a little bit better than book 1, so I'm gonna keep on. And the next book I read was The Wonderland Trials by Sarah Ella. I already talked about this in my recent vlog. If you've not seen it, I will link it. If you're a lover of all things Alice in Wonderland, you're gonna like this. This was an Alice in Wonderland inspired young adult Christian fantasy story. So it is clean and it had some Christian allegory, and I really liked that. I gave this 4 stars. The first part was a little slow to me, and I'm not the biggest Alice in Wonderland fan. That's probably why it wasn't a 5-star read. But for the first half, I wasn't sure. But the last half was like, what? So I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. So, because you kind of get this dystopian Hunger Games vibe, like, because it has like a trial throughout it. That's what made me think it was like Hunger Games. And the whole time you don't know who to trust, what's real, fictional. There's like a reality, because it's called the Curious Realities book, and you don't know what reality you're in. I had like this unique vibe. Kind of like a Caraval story. If you've all read that young adult fantasy, it kind of gives you that vibe as well. It's all about Alice, who just wants to escape her normal life in Oxford. Her parents abandoned her, okay, 10 years ago. And so she's like trying to figure out what's going on, but she wants to find her parents, and she gets more than she bargained for when her older sister, Charlotte, is arrested having this wonder gene. Alice has to play for this Team Hearts in this year's annual Wonderland Trials, and it's kind of like a deadly Wonderland Trials, which again, Hunger Games, right? Her way to Wonderland through these trials. Nothing's what it seems. People are gone missing, honey. Her and her team trying to solve all this and find these missing players that start to go missing. Everything's crazy. So yeah, like I said, I'm not always the biggest fantasy reader, like I said, but hey, look at me go. And yeah, I'm starting to find ones that I do enjoy. And I think we have some good world building in this. Like for the first half of the book, it does seem a bit slow because you're getting into it. It does have that young adult vibe to it, but I thought it was fun. So I think that if you really like Alice in Wonderland, you'll like it. There is like a little bit of a budding romance, very light, that we start to see. I hope that will be expanded upon. So yeah, I didn't really like fall in love with our characters as much, but I still had a good time with this. So yeah, the ending did also leave on a little bit of a cliffhanger as well. So yeah, I need to read the next one, but yeah, it was pretty good. When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I did also talk about this in a vlog recently. And this is a fun rom-com. Yeah, I tried to read Sarah Adams once before, and it was like one of her early books, and I didn't love it. It was too cringe. But this was good, y'all. This was so good. This is a secular closed door romance. It does have some mild language. I feel like I recently read the cheat sheet, by the way, so y'all see that in March. But there was a little bit more language in this one than in the cheat sheet, just to let you know. But I still like both of them. Both of them I give 4 stars, okay? But in this one, I really liked our main characters, a couple. They were so funny. It's just like a fun rom-com, you guys. Like, it was clean, closed door as far as the sexual content. And this was, I mean, you have a lot of that, like, physical attraction stuff like you always see in a rom-com, but whatever. I don't really care about that stuff. Sometimes it's like, whatever, cringe, but it's fine. This is all about Amelia Rose, and she's known as Ray Rose to her fans. And so she's a famous music artist from Nashville, which that was cool to see. Tennessee girl, you know. But she's just like really burnt out on all this music stuff that she's been doing all the many years. She never gets a break. She has to maintain her pop princess image, right? And so she loves the movie Holiday. I forgot to mention this in my vlog, but she loves the Audrey Hepburn movie Roman Holiday. So inspired by that movie, she takes a trip to Rome in the middle of the night, Rome, Kentucky. So that was cool to see Southern vibes there too. But she takes that trip, and so she finds herself just in the car randomly, and she breaks down in front of none other than Noah Walker's out, and he's like, "What's this girl doing?" So she's like, and so he ends up, he knows who she is pretty much immediately because she's like this really famous country music star. Okay. He's like, I don't want to get involved in this. This is gonna be a mess because she's famous, whatever. But he does agree to let her stay at his house because in his spare guest room, because the only place in town, they won't let her stay there. They're like, she's like, no, honey, you're gonna have to stay with him. They're trying to match them up, sound like. So when she goes to the only place in town, and they say they're full, and they're like, are you? So in this small town, are y'all really full with the hotel? Okay. Anyway, but yeah, they start to get to know each other. She's staying there in his guest room. Things kind of go on from there, but overall I had a really good time with this. I feel like this has really cute Southern hospitality from a lot of the characters, and the side characters are fun. They had the best banter. Noah and Amelia had the best banter back and forth. I laughed so hard. And Noah's sisters were really fun too. I liked them. Really the entire town was great. And it just had this charming, cozy, small town vibe that I just love. And the conversations, like I said, they cracked me up. Loved the ending. Very quick and entertaining to read. The sexual content was not over the top. I feel like it did kind of ride a fine line sometimes up until the Fade to Black stuff. For some people it may, but y'all, I'm just thankful that we have a secular author who's writing closed-door romances. Now, she may not always do that. I don't know what her next book going to be. I think she's got a book 2 following some other characters called Practice Makes Perfect. I don't know if that's going to be closed door fully or not, but hey, I hope she does continue to do that because I really appreciate that. You don't see that a lot in secular romances. We see what do? We see all these little covers and we don't know the content, right? And so I really appreciate that. She does like to use some language. It's mild language. I appreciate she's not using heavy, high-handed language. At least it's mild. I mean, you got to take what you can with these secular books if you want to read them. Sometimes you just need like a change. And I think she does a good job with this. You know, I didn't really feel uncomfortable reading the romantic bits. And, you know, I think it's cool that you can have this and people who don't want to read smut can read this, right? So, yeah. I didn't particularly love all the language, but it was fine. You know, it's whatever. Yeah. So I can look past it because this was actually a really good story, entertaining, and all the things. So 4 out of 5 stars. And then we have Memory Lane by Becky Wade. Okay, I give this 4 stars, you guys. And this is first in a new series. I was on her influencer team, and I was so thankful that I was able to, like, just be on her team. And I finally got my copy in the mail. I really enjoyed this book. I think it was a good foundational story for her series. It is a little bit different than her other books, but I still give it 4 stars because this was just such a different type of book she's wrote, and I think it's going to really bring people in that may have never read her books before, because I think also where she's published as indie, Barnes & Noble highlighted this somewhere. I think she posted about it. See, that's a big deal. I'm just saying, like, that's gonna, these type of covers, I think, will also bring people in as well. Even though, like, a lot of people are doing these illustrated covers, just like here, right? So you see this, and let's say that you're not a Christian and you pick this up. There's some faith in here, right? It's very light faith, but it's enough faith that it's maybe going to introduce someone to Jesus. And let me tell you what this is about. So I think I've already talked a lot about this book. So briefly, this is the first book in a Sons of Scandal romance series. It's set on a remote island in Maine. We follow Remy. She's spending most of her time working on these wood sculptures, and she spends time to herself. But one day she sees this unknown man. He's swimming in the ocean. She saves him. Don't know who he is. He got amnesia. What's his name? Don't know. He really got serious amnesia, and everything goes on from there, trying to figure out who he is. And so, yeah, this story really took me through it. I was really more connected to the guy and his story and his family, and, you know, I'm not going to say his name. They give him the name of Jonah. They mention, like, the story of Jonah in the Bible. And so they give him that name. That's not his name, but for the sake of this, we'll say that. I think it's better if you don't know his name. Like, I was enjoying kind of going in blind on it. There's lots of chemistry here. They're kind of like a little bit of enemies to lover here, but I thought they had some really great chemistry. There were parts of this that frustrated me a little bit with her, but overall, I think they had a good relationship. There is some trigger warnings in here, though, let me look at it here. There's some heavier topics. Sexual assault, trauma, infidelity, affairs, and suicide. So don't look at this cover and think it's like just some, you know, it's got some harder topics. All right, I got interrupted because my kid's up now, so we'll have to film the rest of this a little bit later. But like I said, I really enjoyed this. One item I did like to see was Remy was helping this older man like try to find like a long lost love, and that was sweet. You look here, buddy? So yeah, pick it up. Hey, he says hey. Also, what is this video? I really liked him. His brother Jude, the main guy, and his brother Jude was in here, and he was awesome. So the next book is going to be surrounding, pretty much surrounding him and his story. So yeah, sorry this video. Yeah, if you like Becky's books, I think you would enjoy this. Yeah, Memory Lane, and 4 stars. All right, buddy. What else we read? What else do we read, you guys? I don't even know. I really need to just like put a pause on this. All right, I'll be back later, you guys, okay? All right, right, y'all, so we got a little bit of a change in scenery here. So I'm finally where I can film the rest of this video. So sorry for the change up, but hey, we're here. And so the next book I read this month was Daughter of Eden by Jill Eileen Smith. I signed up to honestly read and review this from Baker Publishing, so super excited that I did. Really enjoyed my time with this. Gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is a biblical fiction surrounding the story of Eve, and we have all real Bible characters here. Pretty much the whole story in Genesis. We have Adam and Eve and the creation of man. Then we have Lucifer and how he fell as the angel and became the serpent, and how he's deceptive and all this stuff, and everything that happens with Adam and Eve and the serpent, you already know. And then we have their children, Cain and Abel, and all their other children. And the story really focusing on Cain and Abel as well. So there's a lot of years that go by in this story, and I really enjoyed my time with this. This is a fictionalized story surrounding them, and it really gives you a good perspective to see what it would have been like during the time of Adam and Eve, like their dialogue, what would they have eaten, what it was like for them to have children, and be like the first people to do all these things. And so that was really interesting to see. There were some parts that dragged a little bit, but I still really enjoyed this. I think that if you like biblical fiction, you will enjoy this. What I really liked about this was that I found myself going back to Genesis and looking at my Bible and actually reading God's word and relating to this story. The author did a really good job just to like interweave God's truth and scripture in this story for us. I see the Lord's hand in this, in her writing, and I really, really appreciated it. I think it was really interesting too to see like how Eve might have been grieved, or the guilt and shame she might have felt because of her sin of eating the fruit, and just the remorse that she might have felt during that time. And also how Cain and Abel, when that happened, how would Adam and Eve have felt because it was their children? Like, you get to see all these emotions that you don't really know exactly right from the biblical scripture, but she takes this spin on it, and it's beautiful. I really like the ending here. It really encouraged my faith. I do think this is biblically accurate as far as like the main points in Genesis. She just took a characterization, personification of these characters and put a spin on it that I really think people will enjoy. So yeah, if you like biblical fiction, I think you will enjoy this. And like I said, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Speaking of biblical fiction, our book club pick for this month was Counted with the Stars by Colin Cassette. And y'all, I love this book so much. I gave this 5 stars. To think this was the author's debut work, what? Wow, just totally love this. I think a lot of us have enjoyed this. I've been seeing lots of reviews on Goodreads, many 4 and 5 stars. I'm so glad that so many people have loved this. I'm so glad that we picked this book because it's probably my favorite book club pick that we've ever had. I just really connected to the characters, the story, and I love that this is set during the time period of Exodus. It's one of my favorite books of the Bible from the Old Testament. It's just so profound. Everything with Moses and the plagues and the Egyptians and the deliverance. It's just one of my favorite books of the Bible. And so we are pretty much focused on that time period here, the whole book of Exodus here. And we really get to see the plagues from an Egyptian's point of view. And that was really interesting for me. Like the first half of this was so interesting from that side. I mean, you get so much in depth of like what it would have been like from them. So this is all about a young Egyptian slave woman named Kaya, and she was sold into slavery by her father, and she was forsaken by this man that she was supposed to marry, and all this stuff went down. And so she becomes friends with a young Hebrew woman, and she ends up leaving with the Hebrews, and things take off from there. And you keep wondering, is she going to go back to Egypt? Is she going to turn to the Lord? So good, so good. The ending, I cried. I was just so emotional with this. There were parts of this that really made me emotional. That's part of why this is 5 stars, because of the emotion that it just like invoked in me. And we also had a little bit of a romance in this. And some people didn't love the romance. I did personally, but let me know what you thought down below. But I really did enjoy this. This does not have any actual real Bible characters. I know that's hard for some. So if you're someone who likes biblical fiction that is just characters that are not actual Bible characters but set in biblical times, this is a great one to read. I think it's very biblically accurate, and I highly recommend it. It's really a great one to dive into if like you've never read biblical fiction, because it is like fictionalized characters but set during biblical times. So yeah, I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. A new favorite of the year for sure. Definitely, this is a series, so definitely gonna pick up the next ones. All right, so another favorite. I mean, I'm just going through my 5 stars, right? So another favorite of the year is Jennifer Dival, the Maid of Ballymacool. Was there any doubt on this? I mean, y'all already knew that I was gonna love love this, right? I knew. But I was on the influencer team for this, and I'm so glad that I was because I honestly loved it. I just love all of Jennifer's books. They've all been 5 stars for me, but this one was something about this was just a little bit different. It was like probably the top 5-star for me. I really like a Dance of Donegal too, and we got to see some of the characters from there in this, so that was cool. Very, very mild, but they were in here, and that was nice to see. This has Cinderella vibes. We have this swoon-worthy guy named Michael. He was the best guy, let me tell you. Mystery and romance and all the things, faith. We love to see it. So, yeah, this book is set in 1930s in Ireland, and first of all, Jennifer writes Ireland stories just so good. Like, you really are transported there. So, like, Scotland's my number 1, but then, like, Ireland's number 2. And she has made me love Ireland even more. Blake got to go visit Ireland. I'm so jelly. Anyway, so this has Cinderella vibes. Is we have this girl, Brianna, and she is this maid at Ballymacool school, boarding house, all that stuff. And there's a villainous headmistress. But then there's a swoon-worthy guy. He comes in to save the day, and we love to see it, okay? I really think y'all need to pick up Jennifer. Like, I feel like people don't talk about her enough. I keep saying that. Like, she just writes really great historical romance, in my opinion. I always love the faith, and the guys are always awesome. So, like I said, this is 1930s Ireland. Brianna was abandoned as a child, and she is the maid of Ballymacool house, and she has a villainous headmistress, Miss McGee, honey. Miss McGee was about to throw hands. I did not like her, honey. But that's the whole point of the story, right? She's a villain, and she's the headmistress of everything, and she's so cruel to Brianna, and I can't deal with it. But you just, like, you're wondering, what is her grudge? Even Brianna doesn't know why she doesn't like her. So there's some reason, like some history there. There's some background of why she doesn't like her, and we're going to try to figure that out throughout the story. Pieces start getting pulled together and all that stuff. And then we have Michael Ray come in, and Michael Ray was just such a good male lead. He is everything I wanted a male lead, and he always showed up at the right time. That's why, I mean, like, okay, Michael, you're gonna have to show up, and he did, and I was like, yes, there he is. He is just like this swoon-worthy guy. He's a hero of the story. He's there to help oversee his cousin, but he ends up meeting Brianna, and from the very beginning, they are connected, and it's just so heartwarming to see them take this journey of getting to know each other, and him helping her with things. Like, there's some crazy stuff that goes down where she has all this work she has to do, and he'll sweep in and save the day and say, can I help you? And nobody else is going to help her. And it's like, yes, he's helping her. Which has this, such a loyalty and respect for other people, no matter their social status. Yana was this complex character. She was a little passive, but he, with the help of him, he really, like, helped her come out of her shell and step up and stand up for herself in many different ways, and just start being who she was meant to be. And there's some things that they uncover together that changes the whole, like, boarding school and the situation there. There was some crazy drama and tea at the end. I was like, what? So, yeah, overall, really good story. Really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend. Y'all gonna love this. Like, I mean, pick this up. I also love the side characters in this, specifically Fanula. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but Fanula, she was just so amazing with Brianna. Just love seeing their interactions together and learning all about her. So yeah, overall, this is one of my favorite books of the year. Y'all gotta pick it up. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't know what else to say, but pick it up. And now we have another favorite of the year, and that is Tammy Gray, My Hope Next Door. I love this. This was my 5-star predictions. I knew it'd be 5-star, and it was. I love this so much. Let's go. This book took me through it, y'all. Like, I was so emotional. I buddy read this with Amy at Pretty Little Paperbacks, and me and her, girl, we were just like, what? We were so emotional. We had to take it, like, just like read this in doses in a way, because it is kind of emotionally draining at times in my mind, just because of all like the crazy things going on. The ending is so worth it. In this story, we follow Katie, and her past is all surrounding drugs and just a really bad reputation in town and a hard past. And so she has left town many years ago, and now she's back because her mother is sick. And so she's come back, and she ends up meeting Asher, the boy next door, and he's kind of got a crazy thing with his past going on with the church. And he's been not really at church. His dad's a pastor, but there's some stuff that went down where he's not been there, and now he's trying to go back, and he ends up meeting Katie, and both come from totally different worlds, but they fit together like a glove in a way, and I love that. They really need each other in different ways, right? So Katie has pretty much turned her whole life around over the last several years. She's a new believer in Christ, but nobody believes her. She's back in town, and everybody's like, oh, there's same old Katie, right? They don't believe her because of her reputation from the last time she was there. Even her own parents don't necessarily believe that she is turned her life around, and she's just trying to prove herself to everyone, and she's going to church, trying to just start her life anew. And it was just, this book, it took me through it, because you see her going through things, you know, she's got this past they keep referencing, you don't really know exactly what she did, they keep talking about how bad it was and stuff, and so we finally figure out what happens, and all this stuff goes down, and Asher's right there with her, and he was the best guy. Like, he is one of my top guys in a book ever. Like, he had such patience with her, and he cared about her. No matter her past, he was there, and he had good faith, foundational faith. It was just beautiful to see their relationship grow, because everywhere she turned around, her past was right here in her face. But with him, that wasn't there, and it's like he didn't even see her for that. You know, he knew what she had done, and it was like he didn't care. He said, I just want you, and I love that, you know. And the Lord was so present in this book as well. Like I said, they went to church, and the forgiveness in this book, there's a point in the end of this. I cried. There's a point. Like, if you know, you know. Like, the I can't say, but there's a point at the end when I was crying. The forgiveness and of Christ in this, and just loved it. It really shows us how we can forgive others for things, you know, and how we should forgive others, and just as Christ has forgiven us, right? I will say that this was a tough read, because I could personally relate to some of, like, the things she was going through with her parents. And, like, they have, like, these hoarding tendencies. And I was like, well, I've said that to my mom and dad before. So some of the stuff was a little bit, like, hard-hitting at home for me, like, on the parent side. And, you know, her mom and her getting some pretty rough fights. And it's just hard to read, you know. But at the same time, it's realistic. That's the one thing I say about this book. This book was so realistic and relatable that I loved it. That's part of why I think this is my favorite Tammy O. Gray book ever, because even over Love and Little White Lie, the whole trilogy, like, this book is memorable and realistic. Not that her other books are not, but this one has just such a different meaning to me. And I love that how the Lord worked throughout this story, and the romance was just top tier. Now, look here, I will say, she had an ex-boyfriend. Katie had this ex-boyfriend, Cooper, and I was ready to throw hands with him. Peace out, Cooper. You need to go. Like, I mean, he kept showing up every left and right, and I was like, Cooper, he back? Honey, snap your fingers and be out. Like, I was ready for him to go, you know, and he was so toxic. Like, he just kept humming around, and I was like, bro, you gotta go. So that, you know, but that's part of the story that does make it realistic, because a lot of times that happens. And so I don't know, I just really appreciate the story. I'm glad I read it, and I can't wait to read the next one, because I think it follows her best friend Layla, and, like, some stuff going on there. We have some side characters of whose story are not fully finished that I need to know. Like, I just need to know the details of how this all comes full circle for her friends and everything too. So highly recommend this. Great Christian romance. 5 out of 5 stars. And now, we have another book sponsored by Chrissy. Chrissy Purple Library. One of her favorite books. This is the third book I've read that she really likes this month. Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver. And this is loosely, I say very loosely, a Rumpelstiltskin reimagining. Some call it a retelling. I wouldn't even call it that. It's got the vibes, I guess, but more than anything, because it's spinning silver into gold, kind of like the whole Rumpelstiltskin thing, turning into gold, whatever. And I don't know. I wouldn't say this is fully Rumpelstiltskin. This is a secular fantasy, I should say. And there is some content warnings that I'll mention here in a minute. But overall, I really like this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I read this in one day. Look how chunky this is. I don't know that I'll read any of Naomi's newer stuff, because there's some content that I'm not here for. But like, I've read Uprooted before, and I gave it 3 out of 5, I want to say. Read it in 2018. I couldn't tell you the content on it, honestly, though, because that's before discernment, when I was paying attention to content. But for this, I can tell you there is, let me pull up my content warnings. This is a secular adult fantasy that leans on the bit of grim dark, okay? There's, you know, some things, and it deals with family trauma. My paper's running around. Family trauma, parental abuse, family death of parents and children, alcoholism, discussions of sexual assault, and one character in particular, it rides a fine line of what I was comfortable with as far as, like, the dark side of things. But overall, I was okay with it. It's just, it kind of rode that fine line a little bit. So I just want to mention that right off, because this is not a book for everybody, okay? But I did pick it up, and I'm glad I did, because I gave it 4 stars, and I don't know, there was something about the characters in this and the story and what they were going through that really intrigued me. I want to say, I can't even remember if there was any language in this or not either. But, yeah. So it kind of just rides that fine line. I'm just picking up different things to see, like, fantasy, to see what I like. And this was one that, like I said, I liked it better than Uprooted. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I was so engaged, and I feel like that's part of it, like, why I gave it 4 stars, because in a fantasy, it's hard for me to stay engaged, right? But I was here. One day, for me to read this in a whole day, I listened to audio too, but, like, that's a big deal for me, okay? And so, this follows so many perspectives. 6 perspectives, y'all. All first person. Really hard to keep up with. That's part of why it's 4 stars too, because I just couldn't keep up with everybody for a while. But especially in first person, they're not labeled. That's the other thing. They're not labeled at all. And so you're like, wait a minute, who's talking? At least for the first 25% to 50% of the book. I'd say more 25%, I guess. But once you kind of figure out their voices, you know. But yeah, so we've got 3 main women, primarily their point of views, and then a few side point of views. Okay. Each of these women, Miriam, Wanda, and Irina, they have a part to play in this crazy world of quest of, like, stopping this Stark threat. Okay, Stark, they're like a grim fae creatures. I don't even know how to explain it. That are more like ice. They're like icy. I don't even know how to explain it. But this does have winter vibes, right? So that leads me to that, because Chrissy said this feels like winter, and she even mentioned, and I agree, that winter is almost like a character in its own self. Like, the descriptions and atmosphere in this book that's described of winter is very good. And you really feel transported there, about, like, right in the thick of things with winter. And I felt cold reading this book, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, Naomi has a really good way of personifying, like, seasons and forests and things like that, to where you feel like they're characters in their own. Our characters are very strong-willed women. That's one thing I like. Miriam is the daughter of money changers, so she is, like, having to go and getting the money back from these people that they lent money to. I can't even speak. And her dad never would go get it. Her mama's sick. All this stuff's going on. So she's strong-willed. She is Jewish. We got to see some Jewish culture and everything with her family. And I really like to see that, her traditions. Wish we had more of that, actually. And she's trying to get this money back and all this. Realize that she can turn silver into gold. And that catches the eye of the Stark King. And so, like, they're wanting her. Okay. And then you've got Wanda. Wanda works for Miriam to help pay off her dad's debt. She's making some money on her own. She takes care of her family. What am I doing? What happened? Okay. She takes care of her family. Sorry. Wanda's like a strong woman who will take care of her family at all costs, okay? She got brothers and all this stuff, okay? Her mother passed away. Her dad's really abusive. That's where, like, the trigger warnings come in, honestly, is that stuff with Wanda. So, just mentioning that. And then we have Irina, and she is very interesting. You didn't have a ton with her, but her dad's wanting her to be married off to this guy, and that's where the grim dark stuff comes in, because the guy he's wanting her to be with, he's got, like, a dark side that's, like, crazy, and you're trying to figure out what's up with him. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say besides those are the characters. That's the whole point of the story, is this Stark King trying to, like, who's going to win. You know, he's like, this battle that happens. I don't even know. I'm not making sense, but yeah, it's just a fantasy story that is crazy. And the ending, I was like, what? I was like, Chrissy, the ending had me in a chokehold. So yeah, I think that if you like fantasy, you probably like this. But like I said, I don't think I'm going to read any of Naomi's newer stuff just because content. So yeah, 4.5 stars. The last book that I read this month was actually a really short novella, which is a prequel to A Noble Masquerade by Christy Ann Hunter. I really want to dive into this year, sooner than later, maybe April or May, we'll see. But, because I've heard nothing but good things about this, but I wanted to read the short novella that, like, kind of is an introduction, I think, to some of these characters. Just kind of introduces you to Hawthorne House and some of the characters, right? So, that is A Lady of Esteem by Christiane Hunter, obviously. Here's the cover. And this was just a fun introduction. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. I listened to this on audio. It's only like 2 or 3 hours. It introduces us to Amelia, another Amelia. Introduces us to Amelia and an Anthony. And there's a lot of Regency vibes. I gotta look at my notes because your girl. Yeah, okay, so Amelia, she lives in London and she's not really met anyone of nobility or anything. She's not used to that like fancy life. And so her closest friends are servants for the most part. So it's funny. I was cracking up. This is funny. I don't know what it is, but this is Christian also, by the way. Her paths end up crossing with the Hawthorne family and their close family friend, Anthony, right? And so he is a former Rayburn Rake, whatever that means. I don't know what that is, but I still don't really know what that is, I guess. I'm sorry. But, yeah, he's a former whatever. And so he's very interested in Amelia. And, like, he's like, who was that girl? Trying to figure her out. And, like, they end up getting thrown together. And, I don't know, I just love their interactions together. And especially when they first meet, I was cracking up. Because she, like, pretends to be some cleaning girl and maid. And he's like, maids don't wear dresses like this. So I was, like, cracking up. So, but yeah, just as she's starting to get comfortable and stuff, like, she kind of gets blindsided by some crazy things, nasty rumors and all this stuff. So the story took off, and yeah, I don't know. It was just a good introduction to characters. And Anthony, he kind of grumpy, you know, and it's like he has this little transformation, and I think the ending was wrapped up nicely for a novella. So yeah, this book follows Miranda Hawthorne, looks like, was in this book. So that's cool. I can't wait to read this. So yeah, very entertaining. I think these are going to be very entertaining books. And, yeah, I'm glad that I read it. So that's it for all the books I read this month. Sorry, like, for the change up in the filming. But, if I don't start filming this, I will not get it done. And that's what I get for not doing a mid-month wrap-up. I might definitely do a mid-month wrap-up in March. Whether it's at that cabin or not, you might get it a little late. I don't know, because me and the hubs are going to a cabin. So maybe I'll start filming like clips as I go. I don't know what I'm going to do because it's March the 4th and I've already read 4 books. So I've read 3 middle grade and the cheat sheet, you know, romance. So anyway, I'm going to have to do a mid-month wrap up for March for sure. For sure. But if you want to know more about my reviews and stuff, I write very detailed reviews on Goodreads because I can't remember nothing. I have to look at my notes. So I know y'all are good about being patient with me on that because I just have to look. I have no memory. So, I mean, when you read so many books, it's like, it can't keep nobody straight. But audio has really helped me, y'all. Like, if I didn't have audiobooks, anyway, I hope y'all are having a good day. Enjoyed this video. Sorry it's pretty long, but yeah, I've been so busy, so I haven't really had any time to film or anything. But I'd like to do a vlog. I'm definitely going to do a vlog when we go on vacation. We'll be gone like the 13th, 14th, so definitely going to do a vlog there with me and the hubs, so I can kind of just have something to remember the trip by. It might rain, might do a little snow, I don't know, but we going. We're just going, because I mean, whatever, we'll just take you along with us. Follow me on Instagram, so you can see all the updates there, too. So, anyway, love y'all, hope y'all having a great day. Let me know down below if you're reading these books, are you interested in them. All of them will be linked below. I don't know what else is coming out this week. I do need to film something else. I have a tag video I haven't done, so maybe that. We'll see. But, yeah, I hope y'all are having a great day whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye, y'all!